Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving right into a brutally intense corporate clash that is literally reshaping the entire economics of frontier artificial intelligence. We're watching a massive seismic shift in the tech landscape right now. It's a head-to-head collision between rapid, premium model iteration on one side and this highly disruptive open-weight pricing nuclear option on the other. So we've got the established heavyweight OpenAI squaring off against China's DeepSeek. And let me tell you, this isn't just some friendly battle over benchmark scores. It is a fundamental war over exactly how AI is accessed, how it's priced, and how it gets deployed out in the real world.
So, what happens to the absolute giants of AI when a 1 million token genius can suddenly just fit on a graphics card? I mean, think about it. It's a question that brings an existential crisis right to the doorstep of massive tech monopolies. For years, we've been told that cutting-edge AI requires this massive infrastructure. Sprawling server farms, immense energy grids, insanely deep pockets. But what happens to that trillion-dollar infrastructure when frontier intelligence can just run locally? The ground underneath these tech giants is completely shifting. And to really understand why, we've got to look at the two radically different strategies at play here.
The battle lines are perfectly drawn. In one corner, you have OpenAI's enterprise lockdown. They're building a fortress of highly integrated premium tools designed for total corporate dominance. And then, in the other corner, you have DeepSeek's open weights, a totally disruptive pricing nuclear option engineered to essentially break that premium API ecosystem entirely.
Section 1. OpenAI's Enterprise Fortress. Let's rewind to May 5, 2026. To heavily fortify their position, OpenAI completely replaced their core engine, rolling out GPT-5.5 Instant. And they pivoted hard toward factuality over just raw parameter scaling. Which brings us to this staggering number, 52.5%. In their internal evaluations, GPT-5.5 Instant produced 52.5% fewer hallucinated claims than its predecessor, GPT-5.3 Instant. And we're not talking about casual chats here. This applies to high-stakes, highly regulated fields like finance, medicine, and law. For big corporations, trust is literally currency, and OpenAI was sending a very clear message. Our fortress is absolutely secure.
Okay, let's dive into this. To truly lock down that enterprise market, OpenAI introduced what they call the Memory Sources Protocol. It gives the model deep, personalized context integration. Basically, it acts as an orchestrator across 4 main stages. It integrates your past conversations, accesses your uploaded files, and connects directly into your environments like Google Workspace and Gmail. But that 4th step, that is the real game changer. Transparent back-end citations. As a user, you get to see exactly which historical email or internal document the model cited to generate its answer. It's completely moving away from being a black box into this integrated, verifiable system.
And to really polish this enterprise machine, OpenAI executed a process they called verbosity culling. Basically, they heavily fine-tuned the model to completely stop what we all know as AI fluff. So they significantly chopped down the length of responses, stripped out all those gratuitous emojis, and killed off those annoying, unnecessary follow-up questions. The entire goal here was just streamlining developer workflows. Give the user the exact answer, perfectly cited from their own private data, and don't waste a single second of their time. It's an incredibly compelling, polished premium product.
Section 2. DeepSeek storms the gates.
So while OpenAI was busy building higher walls, DeepSeek was quietly preparing to storm the gates with V4. This is an open-weight model with one singular, highly aggressive goal: absolute coding supremacy at a fraction of Western costs. And their rollout timeline was absolutely relentless. V4 was announced in mid-January. Then, its technical foundation, the Engram system, was published on January 13th. And by mid-February, perfectly aligned with the Lunar New Year, V4 was officially deployed. They basically forced the entire market to immediately reckon with this groundbreaking architecture.
Now, what's really interesting about this is the technical crown jewel making it all work, the Engram memory architecture. This conditional memory system is a total paradigm shift. It fundamentally decouples static pattern retrieval from active, dynamic reasoning loops. So, instead of forcing the AI to drag all of its accumulated knowledge through every single computational step, Engram uses a highly scalable lookup mechanism.
To really grasp why Engram is such a big deal, you have to contrast it with traditional transformer models. Traditional transformers inherently slow down drastically as their context window grows. It's like they're trudging through computational mud. But Engram bypasses that bottleneck entirely.
Because of this architecture, DeepSeek V4 can handle a massive 1 million token context window with absolute zero performance degradation. It stays incredibly fast and completely stable, no matter how much data you throw at it.
And because it has that massive, perfectly stable context window, V4 isn't just out here writing isolated Python scripts. It is custom engineered for heavy, production-level software architecture. We're talking multi-file repository planning, deep cross-file dependency analysis, and native hooks for automated code refactoring and massive-scale error detection. Basically, this AI can ingest and genuinely understand an entire corporate codebase all at once, without ever losing its train of thought.
Section 3. The pricing nuclear option.
But matching frontier coding capabilities was really just step one. DeepSeek then went ahead and deployed their pricing nuclear option. They open-sourced V4 under highly permissive licenses. And the technical secret that actually enables this kind of economic warfare is their mixture of experts, or MOE design. This architecture ensures that only a tiny fraction of the model's massive parameter count is ever active during any given prompt. Because it keeps active parameters low, it requires vastly less computational power to run.
Which leads us directly to this, frankly, staggering metric, 34x. Because of those open weights and that hyper-efficient MOE architecture, DeepSeek's slashed inference costs to be 34 times cheaper than running comparable proprietary models like OpenAI's GPT-5.5 Pro. Just let that sink in for a second. 1/34th of the price for frontier-level coding capabilities. It is a completely unprecedented collapse in the cost of high-level artificial intelligence.
And this brilliantly illustrates the stark reality forced onto the market. On one side, you've got OpenAI's GPT-5.5 Pro. It's highly cloud-dependent, locking developers into premium, recurring API fees basically forever. On the other side, DeepSeek V4 runs locally. Because they reduced inference costs so drastically, it is completely viable for developers to run this 1 million token genius on a consumer-grade RTX 5090 graphics card cluster right there in their own office. No cloud, no API fees, no sensitive data ever leaving your local machine.
Section 4. An existential industry crisis.
OpenAI meticulously designed their enterprise fortress under the assumption that their high-reliability walls were secure and that companies would gladly pay the premium. But DeepSeek fundamentally threatens that core assumption. It all really boils down to one highly controversial question that is echoing through developer forums and corporate boardrooms right now. Why pay tech giants premium API fees when a model with a 1 million token memory can run locally? Honestly, if developers can achieve frontier-level production software engineering entirely on their own hardware, the whole justification for massive recurring API costs just evaporates completely.
So, I want to leave you with this final thought to chew on. We are actively watching two completely divergent futures of technology fight for dominance. Will OpenAI's ultra-reliable, deeply integrated enterprise fortress prove that premium cloud services are simply indispensable? Or will DeepSeek's pricing nuclear option, driven by open weights and local hardware viability, permanently end the era of the tech giant API monopoly? The frontier of AI is definitely no longer just about who is the smartest, it's about who actually controls the economics. Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and keep questioning the future.